to raise awareness about the state of young Jamaicans, and of course to offer plausible and realistic solutions to their plight. We're an advocacy outfit, not just willing to, but actually looking forward to working with other organizations to further all of our penultimate goals. The involvement in the state of Jamaica's children, you see, we are all trying to build the same pyramid. We are all trying to get to that place, and instead of each of us as an organization and as an individual building individual small pyramids, we need to just come together and build one large pyramid as a country, as a nation. We need to send a signal that together we are ready to protect our children. The truth is, our nation's children are in dire straits. A great part of the problem is that we remain steadfast in the inform of the dead culture. Over the last 4 years, more than 7,000 reports have been received by the registry about sexual abuse alone. Imagine how many have not been reported. Only 400 were reported last year. Imagine how many were not reported. Can you imagine how many Jamaicans, perhaps some of us even here, know or suspect that a child is being abused? In whatever way, shape or form, we have to play our part. We have to call 1-888-PROTECT. We have to become involved in this war, because it is a war. It is a war. Everybody, our children are being abused, and the offenders are living lives. Sex offenders are still teaching at schools that they offended at. What kind of nation are we if we sit down and relax? If we sit down and say, oh, but the board didn't forget. That teacher, that person who you have entrusted with the care of your child is a sex offender, and he's still teaching at the school where he committed an offense. As a nation, what are we saying to our children? Are we saying that they should just get over it? Are we saying that there is no real, fulsome justice for them? Is that really what we're saying? No, not today. That march from Bustamante Hospital to here signaled the start of a new phase in this war. It signaled the beginning of all of us taking up that role of activism, becoming involved not just through Twitter and social media, but coming out in the sun hot, lending your voice and your presence to this cause, bringing our shouts louder and louder. One of our first activities after today will be to develop a smartphone application to enable all of us to report more easily to the Children's Registry. I believe that if the means to report are not as tedious, then more Jamaicans will become compliant. And I use the word compliant because it is your legal responsibility to report cases of actual and suspected child abuse to the registry. Let the authorities deal with it. Let the authorities expose the offenders. Let them spend a couple 100 years in prison. We will also be working with the National Parent Teachers Association immediately to develop and sustain some sexual abuse and childcare seminars. One of the greatest things we have as an organization is the support of ordinary Jamaicans. Two of them are clinical psychologists, and they have volunteered their time to make sure that the seminar covers adequately what we need to sensitize our parents about. Because parenting is also an issue. It is very important that as parents, you realize that your child, even though he or she spends most of its time at school, as a family, you are the primary agent of socialization. You have to teach them what is a bad touch. You have to teach them when they need to scream out no. You have to teach them that don't go in cars with strangers. If something happens to you, you have to be a parent. A parent in which your child is comfortable to talk to you, to tell you what is wrong, to tell you what they're going through. Not a draconian, beating, abusive parent which your child is afraid of, because then you are also part of the problem. Help JA Children has established 4 committees to streamline and develop initiatives and activities, and to make sure that the protection of our nation's children stays right here in the public domain. These committees are health and education, gender and marginalization, policy and legislation, and of course parenting. And I want you to know that I said activities and initiatives, not talk and press conferences. However, with these activities, we will be dependent on the media to provide us with the necessary space in their pages and on their airwaves to keep the discussion alive and in the public domain. And that is one of my pleas here today to the media. Thank you all for coming out. However, I need the media to step up to the plate, to assist us in the sensitization and engagement of the public, and to ensure that these issues are not buried in a 9-day cemetery. My other pleas to young Jamaicans like myself, and if you notice, everybody who has volunteered to be a part of Help JA Children are part of our generation as young Jamaicans. My plea to you guys is that the truth is we're not the future of this country. We are the present. As a group, there is no other like us, none with our diversity, our exposure, our resources, and our potential. We must accept that the regeneration of society must begin with us as young Jamaicans. We can't wait to inherit a broken society. Who will fix it then? We have to start from now, today, this very second. We have to get involved too and lend our many talents to this war. We have to lend our skills to repairing our society. A lot of Jamaicans are skeptical about this march and ask, what it will accomplish. I say to them that awareness is one of the greatest tools we have in the fight of this war. How many of us here have ever made a report to the authorities, called the registry? How many of us knew that Jamaica was actually the first Caribbean country to have a law specifically designed for the care and protection of our children? How many of us know that we have not just a moral obligation, but a legal requirement to report to the registry? And I say to them, what if one person here finds that out? What if one person here goes home and makes a report to the registry? Isn't that one child safer? Isn't that one child safer? What if one person here goes home and shares that information with a friend, a family member, a neighbor, and they make a report to the registry? Isn't that another child safer? Isn't that what we are all trying to accomplish? The fight we are a part of will be long, and change will not be immediate. And there are times when we will feel discouraged. But I remind you, and I want these words to ring very loud in your mind, there can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which we treat our children. Thank you.